What is up, guys? Diplexheated here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2, and of course, Rob's Realism mod. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. Welcome back to World War II. We are here in Egypt. The year is 1940, and we're here in early September, just after the declaration of war by Italy against the Allies, mainly Britain, of course. And this is on the border of Libya and Egypt. The Italians have launched the invasion of Egypt, and the Brits that you see here defending this complex are the first to meet the Italian force. Now, this isn't a historical battle, but it's based off of fairly historical events, so you could see it like something like that, of course, although it's not a 100% historical battle, or it's not really meant to represent any other event at the time. I don't think the Italians met any resistance until they made it like 100 or 80 kilometers or so east of the border, closer to Sidi Barrani, which was an area that saw a lot of combat during World War II. Another battle I would like to make a video of is the Battle of Fort Capuzzo, which was an Italian fort in eastern Libya near the border here by Libya and Egypt, so that would be something really cool. But anyway, without further ado, let's get the battle started. The main focus of this video is going to be the Italian forces that saw a lot of combat in North Africa, more so than the, well, they did see combat in Europe as well, but I think their main stage was definitely North Africa, 1940 to 1943. And here they come. We haven't really used them a lot recently, which is a shame. We've used them for a few videos, but Mandingo, the creator of the skins, deserves a lot more credit for the work he's done, because there are so many different Italian units available to everyone, and yet there are so few battles on the Steam Workshop and on my channel, which is a shame, because it's a fully fledged faction. And a major one as well. Talking about Mandingo and his skins, I helped him, or I didn't help him create it, but I funded the project, which was the Finnish army, and it is now released. It released on the National Day, or the Independence Day, which was 6th of December, so be sure to check it out over on the Steam Workshop. The driver of the captain leading this company here was just killed by a Vickers machine gun. I don't know if the Italians knew that this position was defended. They are... oh, there goes the captain. Well, that is going to definitely be a big blow to the organization here of the Italian attack. So about a company, or I wouldn't say a whole company, but at least a couple of platoons, has just attacked the British complex. The map we're on right now is known as Embassy over on the Steam Workshop, so be sure to check it out. It's primarily a multiplayer map that I have edited slightly to make it more realistic and suitable for this very battle. Some of the Brits have rushed out to try and hold the main entrance, although the main entrance is now not really the main entrance, because the Italian truck with a 75mm gun has just blown massive holes into the wall and houses here covering the west side. So this is going to be the main entry point of Italian infantry from now on. Here is a quick look at some of the British infantry. They are probably going to be forced to pull back now. They have no support out here, and I think it's a bit of a suicide mission to try and take the fight to the Italians. 2 Carro Armato tanks have arrived with 37mm main guns and a twin-gun Breda M1938 machine gun. Or actually, 2 Breda M1938 machine guns. The Breda M1938 wasn't a twin gun, so to speak, a twin barrel gun originally. I think that variant there just uses 2 of them side by side. Some guns were produced to be a twin barrel gun, but I don't think the Breda was. And the Italian infantry are using the Carcano. What's it called now again? The The main battle rifle they used was a 1938 variant of the Carcano. That's indeed what it is called. Modello 1895 or 97, I think, is what they're using right here. This could potentially also be as early as 1891, if you look at it. It does look a lot like the one I'm seeing on a picture right now, but that manufacturer was indeed responsible for all the main battle rifles that the Italians used in World War II. So they had a lot of variants, but primarily the 91-38 was their primary rifle. Perhaps the troops here in Libya, stationed in Libya in preparation for the invasion, used a earlier variant. I think the, I mean, obviously. Anyway, it look like things are kicking off a little bit more so now. British reinforcements has arrived, and a tank has left its repair station here in the military side of things here in the complex. So it's not an entire military base here. It serves as perhaps not an embassy, but at least some sort of border checkpoint. Of course, the embassy was in Cairo, but there are civilian quarters here as well. But the military area is here to the east. And a tank has just left, and a few trucks carrying British infantry has just arrived. That tank is now just cutting down British infantry that can't do much against it. We'll see if this cruiser tank MK3 A13 with its 40mm gun can knock out the tank. It's going to turn and use its 37mm against the British tank, and it's going to dodge that first shot. I don't think the driver and gunner is communicating quite well, because he can't turn his gun all the way around because it's attached to the hull. I think it's got an angle of about 45 degrees. So unfortunately, the driver messed him up there a bit and didn't give him the ability to open up. Italian infantry rushing in now. It looks like another platoon arrived, part of the company that the captain led. So we're looking at least 100 Italians attacking here within these minutes of the war here. After this, in September, the British launched the Western Desert Campaign. Not long after, so there wasn't all too much fighting in Egypt. Most of the war went on in Libya afterwards, or at least, of course, in the North African theater. So 2 trucks carrying Italian infantry has just now crossed the bridge. They're going to dismount and get out to fight the British defenders here. The Brits have been so heavily outnumbered. They are happy and lucky to receive some reinforcements there by the truck. And right now they're holding the east side. Oh, I heard that coming. That was an Italian dive bomber of some sort. Possibly just a close air support fighter plane. And it delivered a pretty good hit there on the tank. So now that the armor support is gone, but the infantry is still holding the east side here of the complex. I love seeing these desert or Africa uniforms. And the officers, or some of the, like, at least non-commissioned officers or the junior officers, use the pith helmet. I wonder where the senior captain defending all this has gone down. I think he must have taken part of the defense here. But there are still a few British infantrymen holding the buildings. They're holding the upper floors. Oh, they're gonna be shot dead out of the window. There's one still here in the center building. And he's being surrounded by Italian troops as we speak. I do wonder indeed where the British commanding officers died. It's always interesting to follow these important characters and see where they've gone down. But that is something we can do later on. 2 Italian tanks have been lost so far. Both to the cruiser tank MK3 defending or being part of the sort of garrison here of the base. The Italians have used a lot of trucks. None have been destroyed. But their biggest loss is definitely in manpower right now, even though they outnumbered the Brits severely this time around. The Brits did give the Italians a thorough thrashing throughout the rest of the war, though. I must point that out. And I would say that the biggest mistake or the the Italians' biggest disadvantage was definitely equipment. They had such poor infantry support weaponry and whatnot. I would argue some of their small arms were also quite bad. But they used a lot of World War I artillery and guns in general. Howitzers and stuff carried by horse and cart and stuff. Like, honestly, just... they were in a really shitty state, to be honest. If they had spent more time upgrading their arsenal and their infantry support weapons and small arms, I think they would have done better. I wouldn't say there was anything inherently wrong with the Italian manpower. They had a lot of numbers, but they just... morale was rather ill to it, I'd say. And Germany did most of the fighting in Italy, and by the end of towards the center of the war, the middle of the war rather, in North Africa as well. The Italians were rarely responsible for any of the fighting inlands, and especially at home in Italy itself, which is just so odd when you think about it. I'm looking for a lot of battles to recreate, like the Battle of Anzio and Salerno, and the Germans were just mainly the main fighting force, which is just funny, to be honest. The Italians were responsible for the bulk of the infantry and manpower in North Africa, so they were supposed to do the bulk of the fighting, yet the Germans did. So, it's just funny, if you think about it. So the last British troops are being pushed out to a final stand now. They're back here by the trucks. We have a Bren gunner laying down some fire. Oh, he's gonna get that officer. Yes, he is, but he's going to go down himself. A hand grenade is going to shake up a few British troops behind a stone wall. Will they retreat back in cover to defend themselves? Return fire. An Italian soldier is going to be shot dead. A light machine gun is going to kill another soldier. He's lost his helmet. Did he just take it off? I didn't see it get blown off or anything. Oh, he's shot dead. And the other British soldiers are now on a full retreat. This is early September 1940, shortly after the declaration of war here on the border of Libya and Egypt. If you guys want to see a Battle of Fort Capuzzo, which happened later on, then let me know. I think the New Zealanders captured it in 1941, obviously during the Western Desert Campaign. So that's something cool we could do. That fort was located in East Libya, really close to the border as well. And once again, the Italians did fight their way eastwards to Sidi Barrani. And I think that is about as far as they got. Their aim was to take the Suez Canal, but they didn't get there. There was the main British fighting force was located in a place with the letter M in it, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like quite far east of the border itself. So the Italians saw little resistance early on, and the Brits were mainly forced to pull back and whatnot. But then they arranged a lot of raids on the Italian supply line and the army itself, so they weren't able to carry through the advance later on, and the Brits counterattacked, and then the story continues as they head west into Libya and Tobruk and whatnot and all that stuff. The North African campaign is something I wish to understand more of, and hopefully I will. I'm taking a course of military history in 1914, a full graduation for 6 months or so, 5 or 6 months, and once I'm done, I will be a fully fledged military historian if I graduate, and I hope I will. So it would be something that would definitely add to my content. Hope you guys enjoyed this small border skirmish. Let's take a look at casualties. We'll mark the Brits in yellow and the Italians in red. And as you can tell, the Brits did quite poorly over here as they took so many casualties trying to defend the outer perimeter. They should have focused their main defense on the sort of internal parts here of the compound. Where do we have the officer I was looking for? He should be dead here somewhere, unfortunately. High-ranking officer indeed, in charge of the entire company, so holding this area. So the Italians did commit a company to the assault, but they arrived in platoons. There were 2 platoons that arrived first here, and then another one arrived to the right, and then one that crossed the bridge to finish off the assault. And here's another closer look at some of the Italian troops with what I believe is the M1981. Let's not wonder. We don't have to wonder. He is indeed using the M1891. So it's not the later variant, and this guy is using the Breda Modello 30, which is a really cool looking light machine gun in my opinion. So this wasn't their sort of main battle rifle throughout the entire war, but I suppose some units in Libya would be using the M1891 since it's available in game. But the M1891-38, or is it 95 or 97 dash? It's 90. it's 91-38. That was the 1938 model, which I think was the most common Italian battle rifle in the war. There's a destroyed Vickers and some of the remnants. So Italians did take a lot of casualties out here by this vehicle. This is a Ceirano 50 or a Ceirano 50 with a 75mm L27CK main gun, which I think is just a stunning piece of equipment. Really cool. Here we have the vehicle that the officer arrived in, and the driver, which is probably a non-commissioned officer right here, and his captain were the two first Italian casualties of the fight and the invasion, so that is pretty cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this small border skirmish. I really enjoyed that airplane strike, though. This is cool, taking part of here, the Italian invasion of Egypt. So, give me suggestions to what you want to see. I'm going to make some more arcade-style battles, and I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.